Early rotations paid off for Hungry for More. They took 1 win. Well, they earned themselves 3 points. Let's head to picks and bans and see where they wind up. Left side, first pick, Hungry for More one more time. Go for the first selection.
Cringe Crew actually looked really solid until they gave up that first Gold Fury where they kind of just overcommitted. And then things spiraled out of control. It was really awkward because they weren't losing team fights. They were actually just getting repeatedly picked off one at a time, which is a mistake you can't make against a top 3 European team like Hungry for More. It's something they're going to have to work on as well. It doesn't matter how talented your players are. They're not going to be able to 1v5, right? You got to work as a team.
I'm sure a lot of players would say otherwise.
I don't know, man. I saw the NA versus EU All-Stars, and EU tried. They weren't able to do it, though. They came close a few times.
Susano, so same band, same picks from last time around. The Susano will be the selection for CaptainTwig one more time. Not really surprised there. But the Vulcan from Cringe Crew, very important choice to take that away.
And they might even end up taking a Odin as well. I don't know if they want to do it this early on or look at banning it, because that was really the X factor that they weren't able to deal with. And that's because they paired it with that Ymir, so they were able to bait out a lot of jumps with just that wall alone.
Instead, Cringe Crew, and I kind of like this one better. Cringe Crew's going to play their own game. Instead of trying to play Hungry for More's game and, you know, switch things up a little bit, they're going to play their own game. Pick up the Fenrir for their jungler, and I think that's a better choice for Cringe Crew than opting for that early Odin. Odin can be, as simple as a character he is, probably because he's simple, it can be difficult to play him to success in the solo lane for Zyrhoes.
Cringe Crew didn't ban Jing, and Hungry for More said that if it, or Ataraxia said if it wasn't going to ban, he's just going to carry with it, and he's got his bay. And this is, I mean, this is something that Nate has played very, very well, where other hunters kind of ignored Jingwei for quite some time, and then even after Golden Bow removal, everyone said Jingwei was dead. Ataraxia still said, no, Jingwei is good, she can be utilized. And we saw her farming potential just from Shaggyshenk. Despite being down a Gold Fury, he was actually 400 or 500 up on the ROM.
And Jingwei, like you mentioned earlier, the crit built into the case, expect different builds. Don't be surprised if you see a Heartseeker. It's Ataraxia.
I mean, he went Poison Star. Yep. Everyone else said never. Everyone else said they're never going to buy Poison Star, and he's like, first game into the SPL, let's build Poison Star. Ho-Yi, though, banned in the second phase last game, now picked up for Shaggyshenk. I think that's because CC knows that Hungry for More will ban this away from him.
Absolutely.
He is definitely a star player for Cringe Crew's lineup. He, you know, Shaggyshenk of the past, going back to Season 1 in Coast, it was like, this kid came out of absolutely nowhere, right? He's a challenger player, and all of a sudden he's going, you know, toe-to-toe with reals, even taking 1v1s on him. I don't know if that actually happened. I'm just working a pretend. But he was, like, competing at that level is what I'm trying to get to.
He was the Transcendence guy. All of a sudden, you know, everybody was Death Toll and gloves, or Death Toll, and he just bought this Transcendence, came with this mid-game damage, and I think that's why we see so much success with him on characters like Ho-Yi and the Magical, because the early game Hunter game, that really is jam. But mid-game team fights, late-game team fights, look out for Shaggyshenk.
And he was quiet last season, right? After having such a phenomenal Season 1, he was very quiet. And then in the spring split, I think I saw him reinvigorated. And maybe that's just because Cringe Crew has a new drive, right?
Sure.
Because they finally want to break that 4th seed curse they've put in. It was the old Snipe, right? Third place all the time, right? Except Snipe would always come to lands. On the other side, we saw Cringe Crew just always finish 4th, just shy of lands, just shy.
Just barely.
And I think this team has a lot of drive heading into this split.
Ra's the selection in the mid lane for Hungry for More. I love to see this character. Cringe Crew with the Odin ban can't find that selection for the solo lane. So Zyrhoes will have his pick of the litter. He's going against a tier. He's got a Ra in the mid lane. What direction does Cringe Crew's new solo laner go?
There's a couple options here. Obviously, you could. Odin was banned away by HFM. That's because they clearly wanted to go for the Raw. You could look at an Osiris here if you really want to chase him down. Also very good against Ymir walls. You know, you have that passive where you're able to walk through those player-made objectives. And it's actually going to be an Aphrodite. So, guys, this split is exciting, right? We've got Raw mid, we've got Afro solo, we even had Afro mid as well from Kiki during relegations.
Do you think it might be the Vulcan solo? Zyrhoes plays a fantastic Vulcan, and no, he'll just play the Aphrodite. I really and truly thought we would see the Vulcan solo. Vulcan is one of Zyrhoes' best gods, but committed to learning the new stuff, we'll see the Afro.
If Magma Bomb still had a mini stun, yes, because you could stun tier out of his Fearless, but you can't knock him out of his Fearless without that mini stun, right? He's knock-up immune.
Yep, makes sense. Zyrhoes committed to learning the matchups. We'll select the Aphrodite.
Something I want to bring up, though. So for those who have not seen Afro in a while, and, you know, it's been since launch tournament, maybe a couple instances here or there with CaptainTwig, her passive got reworked. Yep. You know, previously it was you stayed linked to someone and you shared your mana regen or whatever, you know, BS. It was terrible, right? TLDR, it was terrible.
It was not strong.
And that's now been, you still have that, but it's just built into the one. The new passive is actually, I believe it's 70 meters, which is one of the largest radiuses in the game. And anyone near you, you get bonus protections for, both allies and enemies. The thing is, though, is that if someone's coming to gank you and they're in the jungle, you'll see your passive meter go up. So she is a little bit safer if you pay attention to it.
Ooh, wow, that's a tricky one. Very curious to see if Zyrhoes is a little bit more aware, because like we said, game number 1, Hungry for More, they hit the right side 5 times before the game was over, 3 times before minute 15, and one of them resulted in a kill.
And it's a little, you know, if you're up against a Thor, right, you're not going to be able to predict that, right, because he's ulting from, you know, as you would say, like Long Island or something, right, halfway across the world. But, you know, CaptainTwig is going to have to walk into the lane, and it'll be read much easier than I think he wants it to be.
We'll pay attention to that one. Definitely very interested in how that works out. You can see CaptainTwig not moving over there just yet. Took him about 2 minutes to head over there to the right-hand side to pick up that first blood on the first time. We'll see if Twiggy does the same. Level 5. Definitely something to keep in mind for the junglers.
Not even junglers, PrettyPriMe here. And you look at HFM's team composition, and actually almost every single person can set up the raw snipe. Variety obviously can displace people with Fearless. CaptainTwig can pull people, knock them up with his ultimate. PANDALIKE, he's got the walls, he's got the freeze, he's got the slow. And Ataraxia too, he throws down that wing gust. If you get knocked up, you can tell where they're going to land. So a lot of setup potential for PrettyPriMe, who's already very good at hitting ultimates on his own.
I was just going to say, that's icing on the top. PrettyPriMe can nail it pretty much unassisted, but we'll take any help we can get. There's the stun that you were talking about. Matchup knowledge going the way of Zyrhoes. And you know, Zyrhoes is new to this lane, but certainly not new to Smite. One of the more intelligent players, I think, when you ask the guys. Totally coached him once upon a time and was talking about Zyrhoes. With respects to how well he knows the game and plays the game, Zyrhoes, one of the finest.
I think he's got a really strong desire to win. And he is very similar to Omega, right? When Omega switched over to Eager, when he left Cloud9 and went to Eager last season, it was... The only reason I knew it would be good is because I know Omega would never go to a team unless he thought it would be successful. And I think Zyrhoes is the same way. I don't think he's going to a team unless he thinks it's going to be successful and he can make a run for the big one.
Well, Cringe Crew, like we keep mentioning, they were almost there. For me, that's always been my sort of mindset with the team in general. Cringe Crew missing one sort of piece. You look at Repi, Kero, EmilZy, Shaggyshenk, that's a fine collection of players. Is Zyrhoes that missing piece? I think it could be.
You know, funny enough, I think they almost had the piece already. They had Zashu in the spring split, and he was not only doing very well, but he was improving at a fast rate. And then he gets banned. However, he did get unbanned for the fall split here, and Cringe Crew kind of had to make a choice. They ended up sticking with Zyrhoes as they felt like he was going to be the one to put them in a position to win.
Exactly, and I think Zyrhoes could do that. Smooth play coming out from his ex-teammate there, CaptainTwig, just narrowly avoiding the jump out of Repikas. And again, Cringe Crew looking for the combination. Repi jump, Kero fires blindly, but since Twiggy's not stunned, Twiggy's not dead.
Look at this. The old school Frezzy, PANDALIKE invading the speed buff. He used to be known for the back harpies, but he made it. And they have no idea. Cringe Crew have absolutely no idea. Kero's going to recognize it, but instead, they did know, and they're going straight for the Gold Fury.
And Ataraxia here risky. Knocks up 3. That's a great play. EmilZy's low, but there's the Wrath. And it goes down. Cringe Crew picks up the Gold Fury off of the invade from PANDALIKE.
Oh, Shaggyshenk. I don't know if he chose the right option here. Repikas is going to manage to get out. PrettyPriMe takes out EmilZy deep in his own jungle, and Twig finds Shaggyshenk before he can escape to the safety of the tower.
So Cringe Crew wind up with the objective, but Hungry for More get first blood. They get red buff. They get a second kill after that, and now they're leading. 400 gold is really nothing, but still.
Also, they're going to be able to free farm, right? Just look at it. Not only is their entire jungle up, but they're going to be able to secure both mid harpies. PrettyPriMe got a full wave on the left-hand side. He's got all his heart, like everything in Hungry for More's jungle is up. They also stole half of Cringe Crew's. Like it was better. It was better for them to get that than the Gold Fury this early on.
And that's the real number you have to look at. We just watched the immediate after effect was 400 gold, right? But now the separation is almost 1,000. That's what you got to look for. You got to look for the...
Just look at this, right? You see the immediate decline, and then Hungry for More answer right back. It's not an... They already had a slight lead, so it's not this massive gain, but they still came out on top with Cringe Crew doing the Gold Fury.
And it's off of PANDALIKE, like you said. I mean, so once upon a time, PANDALIKE, previously known as Frenzy and a slew of other names, that's what he does. He goes into the enemy jungle on Ymir, and he goes for these back harpies, these crazy plays. He ulted the red buff by himself. Like, that is PANDALIKE through and through.
He is a very aggressive player, much like Trixtank. He just wants to fight all the time. Sometimes he gets in trouble for it. Other times he steals the red buff, and he's Ymir with Magi's boots and red buff, and he hurts.
Like we said in game number 1, PANDALIKE got caught out a couple of times trying to make those plays. But that's what you expect. You take that with the positives of PANDALIKE. If the 3 deaths in game number 1 is the negatives of PANDALIKE, that play right there to put Hungry for More up 1,000 at minute 4, that's the positives.
I like what PrettyPrime's done here. He's actually built into a Warlock Sash, and he got it very early, 4.5 minutes in. Normally this item takes a little bit longer to get online. A lot of players like to go into the boots instead. PrettyPriMe, though, with kind of the momentum that HFM have right now, he doesn't really need to worry about movement speed, because I think Cringe Crew are going to be passive by the time he gets it up.
Oh, he's going to help out his teammate with a heal. I thought we were going to see one through the wall, but
left-hand side.
The old idea of the Warlock Sash certainly attractive. Shaggyshenk going to jump over the top. There's PANDALIKE to avoid the ultimate out of Repikas. Well done. Knockup will be immune as well from CaptainTwig, but that's more defensive than offensive. PANDALIKE, with a quick hand, finds the ultimate.
And now Raw's just going to be able to heal everyone up, so everyone's going to be fully sustained for any engagement. Variety, he's got no blink, but still just sneaking around here. He's 3 levels above Repikas right now, and he's trying to hide from Kero, but guess what? Jig is up. PANDALIKE just ruined his entire strategy.
Variety sitting here hiding behind a rock, making sure nobody sees. PANDALIKE waltzes right up, just like Cringe Crew waltz right into Ataraxia.
Well, he's here anyway.
Red buff goes to Hungry for More off of the snipe from PrettyPriMe.
And that's the thing, too, is that they have a very safe invade plan outside of, unless Ymir's in there, right? But they have Ataraxia who can ult out, and then they have the raw snipe from long range. PrettyPriMe never has to put himself deep into Cringe Crew's jungle to worry about getting turned on.
7-minute mid lane tower, and that's just pressure that's been exerted the entire game from Hungry for More. Whether it's just raw PANDALIKE walking into a red buff pressure, or it's the result of the kills found in the jungle pressure. Hungry for More just has exerted it so much, even without too many kills, they find themselves, it's almost a 2,000 gold lead. The mid tower is gone, and it's very early in the match.
Zyrhoes doesn't want to give up his blue right now. There's the taunt as well. CaptainTwig will take a spill, and PANDALIKE's not going to be aggressed on too. Blue buff did go to Zyrhoes. He was able to pick it up successfully there, so nice counter engage. CaptainTwig getting a little bit too greedy. You always got to think about that Athena ultimate.
Right, and Cringe Crew making the right play right there. Athena without the blue buff in the solo lane, going to be problems. PANDALIKE gets picked up. Zyrhoes is here, drops the dot and the back off, and the kill out of PANDALIKE goes the way of Zyrhoes. 2 successful plays for the solo lane.
And Zyrhoes is going to be very thankful for that, right? Not only is he a part of 2 kills, but he gets one himself. He also just forced Variety to back. And Zyrhoes doesn't have a TP, so anything where he can get a slight edge and not have to, buy into that teleport just to stay even and farm is great for him. And Variety has been rotating around the map so much without getting kind of extra farm. He's actually behind Zyrhoes.
Yeah, sitting down about 300 gold. Nothing to end the lane, but certainly something to really think about when you talk about the veteranship of Variety versus Zyrhoes. Here's an attempted invade going the other way. Hungry for More, it winds up safe. PrettyPriMe hits his ult, but Repikas really not in any danger.
And Variety not really in position either to follow up. Doesn't have Blink online yet. If he even wants to go that. We did see Zyrhoes go the route of the blink tier last time. It has its benefits, obviously, just able to get in the back line and surprise people, but you do have to forego one of those team fight relics that a lot of solos really prefer, right? Just going into those meditations specifically is what they like to highlight.
It's certainly a playstyle thing. Variety is actually one of the players that'll go both directions. Ultimate out of Vulcan, PANDALIKE just deleted. Nowhere for him to even think about going. CaptainTwig very deep. PrettyPriMe forced to follow, and now Cringe Crew have to retreat. Variety take the kill, and the Variety takes the kill. CaptainTwig takes the kill. I thought that was a retreat. Hungry for More goes even deeper, kills Cringe Crew on their own tower.
The issue is that Cringe Crew has a lot of trouble disengaging. Everyone, when you full disengage, you need to not look back. Every once in a while, you can turn around here. Gold Theory going to be started up by HFM, and Zyrhoes and Shaggyshenk still kind of hanging around, but Zyrhoes is isolated, pulled back actually to safety. Very low. CaptainTwig is able to escape as Variety cleans up the Aphrodite. Shaggyshenk able to help reset that Gold Fury as PrettyPriMe gives him a nice little departing gift there.
Man, Shaggyshenk has to be there. He's a Ho-Yi, but Zyrhoes, there's nothing for an Aphrodite to do at that point near that Gold Fury. Rough stuff. Zyrhoes going to earn his first death of the game, 1-1-1, but Variety playing again very, very well. We've come to expect this when he gets on tier.
It's just, I mean, it's just consistency from him. He's 3-0-1 right now. He knows how to play this game. Repikas actually trying to chase HFM outside of their own jungle. They were a little bit poked from that Gold Fury, a very extended engagement. And once again, go look at PANDALIKE right now on the map. This is what this kid does. He just invaded the back harpies, the speed buff, and now he's going to take the blue as well. He's a secondary jungler for HFM.
Absolutely. He knows the pressure, or he knows the absence of players on the right-hand side. Zyrhoes doesn't even know that his blue buff just got dropped by PANDALIKE, but the Ymir player will come right into the lane, letting himself be known. I was here. I'm level 10 now.
I mean, he still doesn't know that the blue was taken because he's got a speed buff around his belly. Like, sorry, Reppy, your speed's gone. Oh, man, my blue's gone, too. And Variety actually able to get there in time, pick it up. I don't think Repikas is going to be able to fight this tier. He's 3 levels down.
Variety just super casually walks in, takes blue, walks out. Not a big deal. Heal up, and all that damage from Fenrir, gone.
Variety. Oh, CaptainTwig, left-hand side. Just up in EmilZy's back. He's not going to commit to that. He does have ultimate, though. And I think if PrettyPriMe was in a little bit better position, they probably would have tried to line something up. But, I mean, back to Cringe Crew. And it just seems like there's a little bit of inconsistency in them following their calls, whether it's disengage or engage. We kind of see people half commit. On that Gold Fury, they got the pick. And instead of immediately backing out to safety, everyone kind of split off in multiple directions. Right. And we're just hanging around looking like, what are we doing? What's the call? I don't know. And that's either EmilZy not giving a definitive call or people not trusting it.
Neither way, it just winds up with the same result. Hungry for More, up a little bit. Cringe Crew, they still seem like they're missing something. EmilZy has been highly touted as one of the more cerebral characters in the Smite scene. That was once upon a time. We talk a lot about player skill sort of stagnating while the newer players come in and get better. Could that be the case with EmilZy? Hold that, Variety's in trouble right now.
He's fine. He's got ult. He is not in any trouble against these two. I mean, unless Repikas full commits and brings them into his tower there, but that's still a little bit of a risk. And PrettyPrime's just been hanging around here for so long. EmilZy will spot him out, but PrettyPriMe just chases him off. Makes him a little bit uncomfortable as Kero dove real deep by CaptainTwig.
CaptainTwig gets the pull, but Kero not going to get hit by the PrettyPriMe ultimate. Hungry for More with dangerous positioning. PANDALIKE being a little bit, how do you say?
PANDALIKE.
Yeah.
He's being a little bit PANDALIKE. Shaggyshenk going to be forced to ult here just to make sure HFM can't get this tower. Burns his Purification. Repikas does pick up Variety on the right-hand side, but in the meantime, Cringe Crew's getting forced out of the left. And once again, look at them. They're just staying a little bit too long. HFM not going to be able to find EmilZy, but they will get this tier 1.
1 for 1. You can see the duo guys on the right-hand side picking off the right side tower. And I meant contagious. PANDALIKE has been very aggressive sitting in the enemy jungle, and Hungry for More in that last engagement sort of takes the same aggressive positioning. Tier 1 tower went down pretty easily, guys. I don't know about Tier 2. Knock up from Ataraxia. He's going to chase. There's 2 players connected. A little bit of a juke from Zyrhoes, but look at the basics and the stun. Pulled back. And I don't know, shield or not, this one looks like Zyrhoes in a lot of trouble. Stun out from Repi is good, but the basics out of Ataraxia find the kill.
I think it's going to happen again. Repikas in a little bit of trouble getting chased down. He tried to jump back in to save Zyrhoes, who was already dead, and he died because of it. He could have just escaped. Meanwhile, the siege is still on the left-hand side. This Raw being used absolutely beautifully. Variety to the back line, waiting for his cooldowns. 2 more seconds on power cleave. It's not going to be enough damage, and he knows it, so he's just going to back off.
And this is what Variety's been doing since the spring split, looking for the back. Just either way, going very deep in an attempt to push the enemy out. Variety trades his life for a tier 2 tower. I'm generally okay with that call.
He didn't need to die for that tier 2 tower. It was already done. And this is one of the issues that, you know, HFM can run into, is that Variety and PANDALIKE have proven that they are fantastic players, right? That's got to be out of everyone's mind that they're not. But they feel very confident that they're going to win this. And now they're starting to do some very crazy things that don't necessarily need to be done. And while you can get away with that in the split, sure, but you're getting used to those habits, and you brought them to DreamHack. They did these exact same similar plays at DreamHack and got punished by the top teams who have a lot more LAN experience.
That's very true.
And
that's
you
very
know,
true.
And maybe they'll come out and say that no, that was a smart play, diving the Phoenix 2v1 at half health, right? Maybe he'll say that, and maybe he'll say that, you know, that was clearly calculated, and I don't bring that into LAN, but. You know, sometimes you got to fix your stuff. I mean, you got to give full respect. This game is not over. Cringe Crew are down 6K, but they do have an Aphrodite. And if Zyrhoes can get a couple more items online, and if Cringe Crew can stagnate this game for another 10 minutes, it does become a little bit more dangerous.
Very true, very true. We'll see how it develops. Keeping a close eye, Variety and PANDALIKE. How fast is too fast? That's certainly the question. Gold Tree being soloed by Ataraxia, you can see. No hard seeker, but he's got the lifesteal, and that's really what's the important part. Repikas is aware the gold tier is going down, but with the 2 ultimates out of the support in the mid lane, nobody's got a chance in hell to really steal that one. Cringe Crew find themselves looking down the barrel of an 8,000 gold lead gun.
And this is HFM just non-stop pushing their lead, and Cringe Crew not being unified in their defense. You just see these fights, and they're just like, okay, 4 versus 2 in favor of HFM. You know, right-hand side, Variety gets picked off in a 2v1, but the players, you know, try and push that tier 2 tower, they get punished for it, just staying too long. Not respecting Ataraxia on that Jing being able to go from base to the tower. Susano with high mobility as well. He was able to, you know, close the gap, has the blink in, and then there's the Panda-like Sunder. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to look for more aggression.
Style. No, he's looking for, this is exactly, this Sunder is the same thing as Variety ulting into a Phoenix at 14 minutes. It's the same thing. They're great players, but they're going to get punished if they try this stuff against better teams.
Well, Variety and PANDALIKE leading the way. There's a freeze on the Zyrhoes and a wall right in front of him. EmilZy comes in, gets the taunt. There's the Vulcan ultimate, and see you later, CaptainTwig. You're gone. Variety being chased out on the left-hand side. PANDALIKE, however, jumped on. He's going to get smacked by Repikas. PANDALIKE goes down, but Variety looking to play hero ball. Here comes the double fearless. Power cleave won't find a home. Sanctuary saves the life. Down goes Repi with a long-range shot at a PrettyPriMe, and here comes Raxia. Lands right on top of EmilZy. Can't find the final shot, but Zyrhoes surrounded, falls down. 11 for Hungry for More, just 7 for Cringe Crew.
This mobility for Hungry for More is just paying off so much for them. Not only Susano just being so mobile, Raw has bonus movement speed, the teleport from Variety, and then the Jing passive. We're seeing these fights go completely in Cringe Crew's favor. It's great, but they just stay the extra 2 seconds. They're looking for a little bit more. And Variety knows, too. He ults into 4 by himself. He has Ataraxia coming in from the base, and then PrettyPriMe lines up the snipe.
I celebrated the discipline of Hungry for More in game number 1, where they took a Phoenix and just immediately ran away. That's what Cringe Crew are lacking here. They don't have the ability to say, 1's good enough, let's walk away. 2's good, let's find, you know, the stuff after the stuff. Let's go find some camps. They're not able to really do that. Instead, they want the giant deicide into the giant free fire, and it's just not going to come, especially when you're down this much gold. You've got to be content with the picks.
And that was also a perfect initiation from Cringe Crew, right? How often are they going to be able to get that where they can just 100-0 some player? And if they do 100-0 someone, it really needs to be CaptainTwig and PrettyPriMe, right? These are the two targets that they really need to deal with. 18 minutes in, though, Hungry for More, they have a big lead here, and they're starting up FG.
Cringe Crew going to be in the area. Repikas and Zyrhoes
It's
more specifically. 3-on-2, players splitting
Zyrhoes
up.
is dead.
Now trouble for Zyrhoes. Down comes EmilZy. That could help, but the 2-on-1, CaptainTwig stuck in a bad spot. Vulcan kept out on the left-hand side. PrettyPriMe the target for Repi. Won't be good. Repi's still in trouble. So are the players up on top. Variety gets the kill on the Repikas. 4 players for Cringe Crew forced out up north.
This is just the huge lead coming into effect. Repikas trying to dive PrettyPriMe, who had got poked out by Kero, though. The problem is that PrettyPriMe has so much health, not only the Warlock slash tier 2 of Rod of Asclepius, and Repikas is just multiple levels down. He does not have the damage. He even went into a wing blade.
And there's the blink from Variety over the wall. Fearless into the wall. Power cleave good as well. Zyrhoes half HP. EmilZy half HP. PANDALIKE 10%, but no one's near him. Vulcan hits him from a distance, but there's no closing, no finishing. Panda will be fine. The retreat from Hungry for More, and now the startup fire.
And with this Vulcan ultimate down, I mean, HFM have nothing to worry about. If someone comes in, they just need to zone him out or even kill him here, and that's exactly what Variety's going to do. Forcing out Zyrhoes Purification, turning over to Shaggyshenk, who's got to jump out as well. They don't even need the kills at this point. Fire Giant actually might get reset as they're trying to continue the engagement.
Variety gets the kill onto Kero. Now it's CaptainTwig versus the world. Has to find a way out, and does. Everybody healing up thanks to PrettyPriMe's
Look at this
heal.
raw. Can we go to healing done here real quick before we really get into this one? 14,000. The highest damage in the game, 11,000. We're seeing so much value out of Solar's Blessing.
I mean, everybody loves Quan. Why not Ra? I mean, there's a lot of answers to that question. Don't go into that one. But Ra working out with how many people are able to protect him. PandaLike on the Ymir. CaptainTwig on the Susano. Variety with the Fearless. There are so many tools to allow this Ra to be Ra. And at this point, for Hungry for More, Cringe Crew made the adjustment. We saw Repikas target the Ra and try to put him in his mouth. But it's 8K down, too little, too late. You all of a sudden, Repikas going to the back line. Is Repikas surrounded by 4, and he falls over.
Well, PrettyPrime's also playing his build and his level, right? We're not seeing him get out of position. We're not seeing him, go in, try and be aggressive, get off all this damage. He knows he doesn't have to be. He's been a heal bot and an ult bot, right? He sits in the back line and like, okay, you took poke, here's the heal. Oh, this guy's set up for me to ult him? Okay, I'll ult him. Even if I don't kill him, I mean, it just does so much damage at a base level.
Prime's made a living off of good positioning. Goals here being started by Hungry for More, but Cringe Crew trying to, won't say sneak, there's 2 people here, but trying to go for the Fire Giant. Both objectives being taken down very fast. Hungry for More making the rotation now. PrettyPriMe shows up. Here's Repikas trying to find the ultimate.
Into a tanky
everybody
target.
off of the objective, but down Broadway, PrettyPriMe hits everybody with the snipe.
Oh, look at this. CaptainTwig's already picked up Shaggyshenk. Ataraxia takes out another, but PrettyPriMe, everyone lined up in a row, and that was the best opportunity Cringe Crew were going to have. They put a lot of investment into a tanky target. It doesn't even matter.
Wow.
They actually just lined themselves up perfectly for Prime, and he nails it.
Everybody just lined up. They formed a queue. And PrettyPriMe put them all down. Hungry for More. They take the Fire Giant after that exchange. Almost 10,000 gold. Cringe Crew's senior. And they're going to head up this mid lane after a fantastic setup for the mid lane. PrettyPriMe, PandaLike, and Ataraxia will take their merits to the tower.
9K gold lead here, about to be extended as well. And Hungry for More haven't backed in a while, but they're just in such a good position to siege with this Raw. It's been so valuable to them. They're able to take out the last mid tower here. They're actually rotating over, going to pick up the gold as well and finish off their builds. I mean, just look at the gold in hand after this one. I don't know the last time they backed here. A couple players back to 2K almost.
And that, it hasn't been a problem, but PrettyPriMe backed for Warlock Sesh. PrettyPriMe backed for boots, like the entire boots, and he backed for Mark II of Rod of Asclepius. We haven't seen PrettyPriMe back unless he's forced to because of that heal. He's just able to stay in lane, stay relevant. That's why he's level 19, 3 levels above Kero.
Probably
he just doesn't have to go home.
Not at all. And I mean, we didn't really mention it, but he went the Book of Thoth too, the double stack, just a lot of base power.
Boy.
Finishes off the Rod. My question is he going to go for a more defensive build or go into penetration? And it is the defense. Tier 1 of Cloak, likely looking for that Spirit's Robe. There is a lot of CC on Cringe Crew.
Spirit's Robe.
Or Mantle of Discord works as well. Both of those are good options, although I feel like Mantle, or I feel like Spiritual will get a little bit more value just because there's a lot of easy to confirm CC on the side of Cringe Crew, whereas Mantle of Discord, the only one he has to worry about is Repikas. You know, if he's chasing him down in melee range, everyone else is going to kill him from a distance.
We saw Magi's Blessing earlier in the day. However, with the Athena taunt, I never like Magi's Blessing against an Athena or a Geb. It's just too easy to go, hey, nice bubble, see you later. So, might not be the choice. Either way, Hungry for More, less concerned about their items and more concerned about their enemies' towers. Tier 2 goes down, 1,500 in the pocket. Hungry for More continuing down the right side lane. Ataraxia is looking at this Phoenix, already half HP. Cringe Crew not playing defense at all.
Ooh, there's actually a good Vulcan ultimate, but it just tickles the shell of Hungry for More here. Ataraxia already taken out EmilZy. CaptainTwig to the back line, just trying to push everyone off. And Ataraxia is actually looking for blood. The crits reign true. And the team's just going to start tearing down these Phoenixes. The Fire Giant region, the healing from Raw. I mean, it's very hard for CC to stop this.
Repi goes into the ultimate, and Ataraxia just shoots him in the mouth and sends him the other direction. 2 strong crits, and Repi doesn't want to take it. Jumping on the back line is Repikas, but again, crits onto the dog, sends Repikas way in the back line. Raxia turns around, gets the 180 hit on a Kero. Beautifully played. He finds a second onto Shaggyshenk. Now, finally, looking towards the Phoenix. The members of Hungry for More taking down the Titan again. 2 for HFM above Cringe Crew.
I got a little bit worried for HFM in that first game. Cringe Crew got off to a fantastic start, I believe 4-1 in kills. And then ever since, Cringe Crew stayed a little bit too long in game 1. Like, I mean, the whole set was controlled by HFM. And this was a team I was not worried about, but I still had a little bit of a question mark because, you know, they didn't really get things together in the spring split until the final couple of weeks when they went on their, 14-3 run. But before that, I mean, they started like 1-7, 1-8. I mean, it wasn't good, but they're clearly still in form right there, taking out the 4th best team in the league.
Yeah, I mean, the ramp-up time for HFM in Split 1 was a brand new team. Ataraxia grabs 3 people, 4 people, and says, hey, let's do it. So a little bit of ramp-up time, and it's actually really fun. You can actually look back at the week-by-week improvement for them. Coming into number 2, or the fall split, excuse me, I mean, that's all done. They've done the homework. Now it's time for the test, and DreamHack was a speed bump coming into the fall split. These guys look great. What was the moment of the turnaround in game number 1 that you mentioned where Cringe Crew...
They just stayed a little bit too long, and they allowed Variety to pick off Kero in the back line, and then they were so distracted. Instead of like trying to kill Variety or stop them, they all just kind of split off in multiple directions. Kero dies, then Variety combines for another 2 kills in the mid lane with the help of CaptainTwig's Blink ult.
That's the turnaround, not for game 1, for the whole set. Game 2 was Hungry for More from minute 1. They had a 650, 7-minute mid-tower kill, right? This was all Hungry for More. I think last split, you're like, okay, was it a flash in the pan? Was it okay after DreamHack? Which was the fluke? DreamHack was the fluke. This is a great team.
And going to continue to be great, and I'm excited to see them be strong from the start instead of seeing them get off to that, rough instances. Exactly. I still think they have stuff to clean up, but I mean, this is a very scary team when they get comfortable. Although I think they are a harm to themselves if they get a little bit too comfortable. The Sunder, the 14-minute Phoenix dive, right? They still got away with it because and that's because they had such a massive lead. They tried to make those highlight reel plays instead of playing the safe game, which will punish them. They'll get punished against better opponents. Against Cringe Crew, who's still trying to work in zeros into that soul lane, they can get away with a little bit more.
We'll see how the future holds. For now, they're the owners of 3 points. They take out 2 games above their opposition. Now's the point in time where I build up the next match, but I don't have to. It's Panthera versus Paradigm. Make sure to see you soon.
There is so much we can learn in the universe. It is the frontier of the future.